Hi everyone! So I was having a conversation with someone, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and she was saying how she never really returns any makeup products because in the country that she lives in, you're just not allowed to. And I could so relate to that because I grew up in Norway, and I've said that in other videos as well, but in Norway you cannot return anything that's been opened or used. So I feel like in the States we're super lucky to be able to return stuff, especially at Sephora, and their return policy is just amazing. And I might be one to kind of take advantage of that, and I do return quite a lot of stuff that either ends up just not working for me or that I just simply don't like. So I went through my Sephora history yesterday and I wrote down the list of all the things that I have returned at Sephora in the past, or since January I should say, so in this past year. And I want to just share them with you and let you know which products that I did not like enough to actually go return them. So I'm going to start off by the ones that I bought in the beginning of the year. And the first thing that I have on my list is the Tarte Pro palette. So I really wanted this palette to work for me because I thought it was so pretty, and I love Tarte's packaging. And I've had some Tarte products in the past that I kind of liked, but I've never been impressed by their shadows. So I bought this hoping to really like it, and I just found that the formula just wasn't for me. The shimmers were okay, but the mattes just kind of like muddied together and they wouldn't blend properly, and I was just having a hard time with it. So I was like, you know what? This is not worth keeping. It was pretty expensive, so I decided to return it. And I think on the same day, I bought the Farsali Rose Gold Elixir, you know, like the little white bottle with the oil in it. And my skin just for some reason does not like oils. I tried one recently too last week, and as soon as I put it on, my skin became really itchy and it just felt really bad, and like my skin just feels extremely greasy and like the oil never sinks into it. So maybe I just need to like stay away from oils or something, but I did not like that product at all. And again, it was pretty expensive, so it's not something that I want to keep if I know I'm not going to use it. So I mean, I have no shame in returning stuff that I don't like, because if I have the option to return it, you bet your ass I'm going to return it. So I also have the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Micro Finishing Loose Powder. And the problem with this powder, I should have read the reviews before I bought it, but this was like a recommendation from someone at the store because I wanted to try a new powder. And so they recommended me that, and it just left a really, really bad like white cast on my face. And I'm not talking flashback now, I'm talking like my face looked white, like ghostly white, like the cast just wouldn't go away. And also it didn't look good on the skin at all. I did not like it. The container that it came in had one of those like net things on top, and like none of the powder would really come out when I like pushed my brush on it unless I like really stabbed it, and I wasn't about that packaging. So the product and the packaging simply didn't work for me, so I decided to return it. The next thing on the list is my YSL The Shock Volumizing Mascara. I do not remember who I heard say good things about this mascara. I think it might have been, could it have been Tati? I don't know, but someone that I trust really liked this mascara, so I wanted to give it a try. And my problem with this mascara was that the wand was really, really big, and when you took the wand out of the tube, it contained so much product that you had to scrape it off on top of the tube, and then the tube would just get like all mushy and dirty and disgusting and gross, and like the mascara itself wasn't even that good. Like it didn't really do anything for me. So just the amount of product that came out every time I tried to use it was just impossible, because it would just be clump city if I didn't like wipe off my wand every time, and I felt like I was wasting product, I was making a mess, and I did not like that mascara, especially for the price. It just wasn't worth it. Now the next one, I'm actually kind of surprised that I bought, and this is the Smashbox Full Exposure Travel Palette Mini. And I think I bought this because I don't really have any like super neutral palettes, and I wanted to just have one in my collection just to have one. And I thought this one was nice. It had some mattes, it had some shimmers, so it was really nice, travel friendly. It was tiny because I don't need that many browns. So I bought this palette thinking, oh, you know, it might be like a good little handy thing to have on the side if I ever need to pull out colors like that. And to be honest, the formula on those were just, it was just awful. I didn't like anything about it. The shimmers were so lackluster. The mattes were just like, you know, they were just okay. Like I did not think it was worth the money at all, so I returned it immediately. The next thing is something that I know a lot of people were really excited about, me included, and this is the Natasha Denona Tropic Palette. Now, I love Natasha Denona's formula, or I should say I like the old formula that she had. I thought that was amazing. I have two of her palettes, and I really, really like them. But as soon as I got my hands on this and I tried it and I swatched the shimmer shades, they were so weird. They were so different than her older formula, and it was one of those things that like it wouldn't pick up on a brush properly. You almost had to like use your finger to apply it, and personally I don't like using my fingers to apply shadows because I feel like I can't be like precise enough and I can't get like properly into my inner corner, and it's just not how I prefer to apply my makeup. So for me, all the shimmers in the palette were pretty much useless, and that was like the whole last row of the palette, which was like the selling point for me when it came to that. So I honestly only tried the palette twice before I knew that it wasn't for me. So I had that back in the store like 3 days after I bought it. The next thing on my list is a Sephora Pro Core Diffuser. It said it was a medium to full coverage foundation brush, and this brush felt really nice at the store. Like it was so unique. It kind of had like a dense like inner part of the brush, and then like the bristles on the outside were like kind of fluffier. So it was like a combination of a foundation brush with a stippling brush, and I thought that was so cool. But then as soon as I went home and I tried to like buff out my foundation, like it literally did nothing. Like it wouldn't even move my foundation. Like the brush was just way too soft, and the kind of coverage that I would get if I were to apply my foundation with that brush would just be like non-existent. So, which is kind of sad because usually I'm really impressed by all the brushes from the Sephora line. So I was a little surprised that I didn't like this one. So I did decide to return it, and it was like $30. So, you know, if I do buy expensive things, I like to have the option to return something if I don't like it. And I feel like for Sephora, it's kind of good because it makes me more likely to buy products that I might not have bought if it was at a place that I couldn't return it. So, you know, maybe they do get more traffic and more people buying their stuff because they know that they can return it if it doesn't work out for them. I don't know. So the next thing on the list is something that had been very popular for quite a long time, and this is the Hourglass Vanish Foundation Stick. Now, I bought this mostly because I was going traveling for a while, and I wanted to bring something that wasn't a glass bottle, and I thought this would be a good time to try out the stick foundation. So I bought the foundation about a week or so before I was going to go traveling, and I wore it for like 3 days, and I right away knew that the foundation wasn't for me. It said that it's supposed to be long lasting. For me, long lasting means like 12 hours. Like when I put on my makeup, I wear it for quite a long time, and I'm a kind of person who gets pretty oily, so I think stick foundations in general just aren't really for me because they tend to just kind of like slide off after a while and get really oily, and they just don't look good on my skin after after 6 hours, and that just doesn't work for me. And so I decided to return that. Also, the shade range in that foundation is kind of weird. Like I cannot find a shade that was like my right undertone. I found like the right like depth of the shade, but the undertone of the shade was way off, so it just looked wrong on my skin. Next on my list is something that so many people like, and I really wish this worked for me, and this is the Urban Decay Heavy Metals liners. These are the glitter liners that are so similar to the steel ones, the Glitter and Glows, and they're just so pretty. Like I love the look of those liners. And the first time I put it on, I even did it in a video, I forget which one, but it made my eye kind of like itchy and burning. And the second time that I tried them, it did the same thing, and like it lasted for quite a while and was pretty uncomfortable. So I think maybe there was something in that just like didn't work for my eyes and really irritated my eyes. It was fine as long as I let it dry down completely, but I just don't want to have to go through every time I use that product. So I decided, unfortunately, to return it, even though it was so pretty and I really loved it. But I just don't want anything to be, you know, burning my eyes when I put it on. It's just not worth it. And the next two things I actually returned about a week ago, and the first thing is the Urban Decay Waterproof Setting Powder. Now, the problem with this powder is that it said it's supposed to be translucent, or maybe it doesn't even claim to be translucent, but they only have one shade. So I was so sure that this powder was going to be like obviously a universal color because it's meant to be for everyone. And I took it home and I tried it the first time by just setting my face with it, and it worked okay, even though it did have a little bit of tint to it, so I could tell that it was like colored. But then the next day I tried to set my under eyes with it, and it looked terrible. Like it made my under eyes look 3 shades darker, and it just did not work for me. And it also made my foundation probably a shade darker. And I mean, the color was okay for me right now in the summer when I have a little bit of a tan, but I know if I were to use that in the winter, like that would not look good. So just the fact that the shade was off, I decided to return it. The formula was okay, so if you want to try it, I would still say go ahead, but that powder just didn't work for me color-wise. And the last thing on my list is a product that I've seen a lot of people rave about lately and that they really like it, and this is the new Huda Beauty Demi Matte Liquid Lipstick. Now, I really like the ColourPop Satin, what's that called? Satin, I don't know, but their satin liquid lipsticks are really, really nice. So I was really hoping that I would like this one as well, but I found that the formula was just too thick for me. I don't like thick liquid lipstick formulas. It reminded me a lot of the Smashbox lipstick that I got in BoxyCharm last month. It is the Always On Liquid Lipstick, I think it's called. Yeah, so this formula I found was really similar to the Demi Matte, the way it applied. Now, the Demi Matte didn't completely dry down the way that this one does, but like just the application part of it I found to be very similar, and it was just like too thick. I didn't like how it felt on my lips. Now, the color was great, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to really like that formula, so I would still say if you're curious about it, give it a try because you might like it. Those were all the products that I've returned, and I know it might seem like a lot and it might seem like I'm taking advantage of their return policy, but honestly, with the amount of makeup that I buy, I want to say I return maybe 10% of the things that I buy, and I don't think that's too bad. I feel like that's definitely within like the acceptable range of returns. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think returning like 10 to 15% of the products that you buy is a lot? Because obviously when you want to try out new products, you might not know if they work for you or not. It's one thing if you're just like repurchasing things and you like to use the same stuff over and over again, but when you're into makeup and you're really interested in trying new items, then I feel like if you have the chance to return it, then that's totally fine to do. Let me know down below if you have anything against people returning makeup, or if you think it's like bad for the environment and you don't do it, or if you have like other reasons for why you personally don't like to return makeup, let me know. I would love to know how you feel about the subject, and that was all for this video. If you're new to my channel, I hope you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!